What looks like coincidence is often the kindness of God in disguise. Can I give you a big idea for today? And I would love for this to be something that you and I bounce around as we head into into this coming week of our minds and our perspectives as we do it. But the big thought for today is this. What looks like coincidence is often the kindness of God in disguise. What looks like coincidence is often the kindness of God in disguise. Well, we talked about this last week. God is sovereign, meaning he's over all of it. He's the ultimate authority, ruler of all creation, supreme over everything, and nothing can thwart his purposes. Now, when we're in the midst of heavy seasons, we'll ask a lot of questions about that, right? But sometimes all we have to hang on to is God's sovereignty, which means every time we get that lucky, every time we encounter a happenstance that incredible or a coincidence, that could very well be the reflection of the provision of a sovereign God at work. And how often do I live my life? How often in my day-to-day grind, and how often is it getting the kids to school, getting back home, feeding them, putting them to bed, waking up to do it again tomorrow? How often in the 9 to 5? How often in the normal, the average, and the mundane of my life? Does my perspective just get focused on that which my hands can experience? And then when I experience being in the right place at the right time, or I encounter one of those beautiful moments of coincidence, are my eyes not directed in gratitude toward the Almighty for his provision? I can't tell you how many times I've been driving and I catch every green light and think, "Ooh, I am living right." How many times I've been driving and I'm the last one over the drawbridge before it goes up. Like, let's go, I beat them all. Pulling up to a place and there's one parking spot in the very front by the building and I get that one, right? I don't know why all my kindnesses from God are related to driving, but I've also seen a lot of unkindness from some of you out there. But what about in your life? You know what I mean? You've had those moments where you're just like, you reflect on it and it's like, man, what a lucky break. Man, who knew that conversation, I'm glad I spoke. I'm glad I was there. What a coincidence. And we just forget the little kindnesses that God's trying to communicate his love and his steadfast love and mercy to us. The moment where you catch a sunset and it almost takes your breath away. I'm glad I was out here for that one. As if God wasn't trying to say, I've got you. The moment that we walk through a day and we turn around and reflect and it's like, you know what, today was a good day. Do we see that as a blessing from God? The moment where you reflect and you think, man, the kids didn't fight today that much. That would be, some things are just not realistic, right? How many times have you woken up and thought, man, that was just a great night of sleep. Thank you, God. This was a restful day off. How many times have we sipped from clean water that's readily accessible in our home, enjoyed a warm meal, and lived with a roof over our head without stopping to say, God, thank you for your provisions and your acts of kindness to me in this life. I am so undeserving. Or how often do we tend to live our lives feeling like God owes us something? Of course, I live here. Of course, I get my paycheck. Of course, God does these things for me.